L5 Sentinel 186. Fly heading 270. Runway 27.
All right.
You're cleared for takeoff. Fly heading 2.
Oh, hello. I didn't see you come in.
27. L5 Sentinel 1.
We are right at that airport
SJX Vision 1 Charlie.
near Donington. We're gonna be flying over to. There really is no airports near Nurburgring, but I found a pretty cool little one in the vicinity, so I thought it'd be cool. But as I'm getting taxi clearance here, I noticed that there is a DC-10 sitting on the ramp, FedEx DC-10, and there's another one right here, but made me a little nostalgic. I thought that was pretty cool. They had those chilling out, so I wanted to hold off. Show you guys those. Slightly larger than the plane I'm flying today. We went with the little jet here instead of the MD-82 because the airport that we're flying to is way too small. So we might have to speed up things just a little bit. But as we're taxiing here to the correct runway, kind of wanted to, not that any of this is super rocket science, but I thought it'd be cool to go over some of the things that kind of think about, especially over in flying in Europe. But you will see oftentimes there's a lot of information that you need to digest when you're going from point A to point B. In addition to the NOTAMs, which are kind of temporary, it stands for Notices to Airmen, and it's basically like how the airport communicates, the airfield manager communicates different things, like, you know, could be runway hours, could be construction going on the taxiway, so things are closed, or different noise abatement procedures. But longer term things will live in different areas. Now again, I had a different set of flight information publications, so these aren't as familiar, but you'll see when you go somewhere, Jepson also puts out, they call it the airport briefing. And so you'll run through, and basically you have to study up on what is expected of you. Noise abatement, I brought that up, is huge in Europe. Most of the places, at least, they do not want you disturbing the peace with your aircraft. So basically, there'll be different, basically trying to keep you, when you depart, get you up high as quick as possible, and not overfly towns. And same on arrival, basically keep you up as high as possible, not overfly towns, and then kind of dip down into the runway. And aircraft have specific procedures for noise abatement, but if not, they do give you recommended procedures. And then you can even see here, like, they have regulations on run-up tests, use of reverse thrust, and you can see even here, please avoid use of reverse thrust between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. local time. So you know, things like that. APUs, they don't want you just sitting there running your APU, which we talked about last time, is because it's literally a jet engine that sits in the back of the plane, so they want you reducing basically the noise pollution. Oh, look, more DC-10s on there right there. And then there's other things like taxi procedures and things, you know, just kind of local operating procedures they want you to abide by that may not necessarily be, you know, quote unquote standard for other places. Speed restrictions there. Oh yeah, here it talks about a continuous descent approach. That is especially for non-precision approaches where you don't have a glide slope available to you on your instrumentation. There's different ways to fly that, and one of them is to just step down to the minimums as you get to them, but that requires you to then level off and, you know, push the throttle up to maintain your speed, and then pull it back, and then push the throttle back up. So it's a little more unsafe. It destabilizes the approach and stuff like that. So there's a lot of reasons that they prefer you to do a continuous or constant descent approach. Think I don't want to get too far into it because it's not that interesting, but here, CONUS flight rules are standard across CONUS, but it's not the same in ICAO airspace, which is pretty much everywhere outside of the US. So you'll notice here flight level 100. In the US, we have transition level, which is basically it's 18,000 feet across everywhere, but transition altitude and level change, and they could actually be different in ICAO airspace. So when you go to that 2992 setting that we talked about in one of the previous flights on your altimeter, so that everybody's on the standard plane and standard altimeter setting, so we're not running into each other, those, when you do that, can vary throughout ICAO airspace, the rest of the world basically. So you'll find that in the flip. We'll look at it a little bit later, but transition altitude for our departure airport is 6,000 feet. So we'll be on local altimeter setting, which is 2997 right now based on the weather report, and we'll be switching to 2992 at 6,000 feet. Good way to remember transition altitude is when you're climbing up to get to your cruise, and that the A looks like an upward arrow, right? Transition altitude for when you're climbing up, and transition level is the opposite. So transition level describes when you're going to switch back to local altimeter setting on your descent into an airport. And then they have these are noise abatement procedures you can use if you don't have aircraft specific, which not a huge deal with a small aircraft like we're flying. I think that was the only thing I really wanted to touch on. Basically, there's a lot of studying you got to do. That was really the point I wanted to get across so you don't get yourself in trouble. The only other thing I'll point out here, this is METAR, which is a code weather report that you'll also have to look at. Now, a lot of websites will translate these for you now, but honestly, if you've been looking at them, it kind of looks like gibberish if you don't know what you're looking at, but it's almost easier to read them untranslated once you get used to it. So the one for our departure airport here wasn't super interesting, so I pulled up, this is the METAR. The METAR is like what's happening now. It's updated every hour typically, unless conditions change, then they'll put out ones that aren't on the hour, or 5 minutes before the hour or so. And then this is the TAF, the Terminal Area Forecast. So same types of code, but it's forward-looking and gives you an idea of what to expect for the forecast. And so how you would read this is, that's the airport identifier right there. This is for EGCC. The 1st, so August 1st, and it was put out at 1620 Zulu. It's automated report, which means it's just instrumentation. There was no human input to this. The winds are from, this is going to be your cardinal direction, or not cardinal direction, but compass direction. So basically directly out of the west, 270 at 9 knots. This is your visibility line. So if it's above 9,000 meters in ICAO or 7 statute miles in the US, that's the max report. So this is basically telling you it's greater than 9,000 meters of visibility. So a lot of viz. And then these are your cloud layers. So and few, broken, overcast, scattered, they all have different definitions of, fractions of how much the sky is covered. And I don't remember off the top of my head right now, but few at 3,400 feet and overcast at 4,400 feet is what that's telling you. Temperature 17, and this is Celsius. The dew point is 10 Celsius. And then this is the local altimeter setting. Now, there's two ways. The Q indicates that this is hectopascals or millibars. When we look down here, that's what ICAO uses. Obviously, we use inches of mercury. That's where the 2997 comes in, and that's why it looks different than this number, like vastly different. But a lot of aircraft will either have a conversion, or you have to convert it, or you can ask for the conversion yourself. But it's reported here in hectopascals. 1013 is, well, 1013.25, I think, technically, is standard day. So it's pretty standard temperature right there. And then, yeah, then the rest of it, we're taking forever here, but this is basically saying this is when the report came out, similar on the 1st of August at 10:54Z. This is using that same time, this is what the valid period is. So from the 1st at 12Z to the 2nd at 18Z, this line right here is going to cover that. So winds pretty much out of the west, 290 at 8, good viz, scattered at 2000, and there's a 30% probability of that being the case. Now typically I see those when there's like a rain, yeah, like right here on this tempo group, you would see there's a 30% chance of rain showers there, which is SH is showers, RA is rain. But anyway, yeah, so this is the entire period that's being covered, 12 to 18Z, but then they're going to say, okay, well, between 12 and 14, you're going to see 7,000 meters rain showers, and the ceiling's going to drop to broken at 1,200. And then it'll go at 14Z there, basically it reverts back to this line, and then at 0Z on the 2nd, you're getting a 30% chance of showers until 15Z, and then you revert back to this line, etc. The plus there, obviously heavy rain showers. This line right here broken at 2000 with cumulonimbus, which are the rain/thunderstorm clouds potentially. And yeah, we won't go any more of that. But I brought up this one too because I noticed it, LFQQ, wherever the heck that is. I wanted to bring this up because that's, you see CAVOK, which is the namesake for the you know, I don't know what you call it, my racing thing. That basically means, and I forget all the conditions, but it's ceiling and visibility okay. It's used in ICAO, METARs and METARs and TAFs to signify it's like greater than 10 miles of visibility. The clouds aren't below, I think it's 5,000 feet, or min sector altitude, min safe altitude, and no cumulonimbus or any sort of thunderstorms in the area. I forget however many miles. They'll slap the CAVOK to kind of indicate all of those conditions. So basically, it's a nice day, or at least in the area. So that's where I got that. And I think that was all the somewhat semi-interesting things to talk about. So we taxied up here. I'd spawned on the wrong side of the airport, apparently. This is your hold short line. It's gonna let me check in. No. Technically, I should be holding short there, but hello. I hate this. It's not letting me check in. Alright, well, we just might go for it then. So we are going to be taking off of runway 27 here, I do believe. This is the runway that goes right over Donington circuit, but unfortunately it doesn't map it.
S76 6 X-ray Papa Gate taxi via 27.
Oh, now they're gonna let us.
Gate taxi via 27 Hotel Alpha Mike S76.
So I went through the trouble of filing a flight plan.
SJX Vision 1 Charlie Victor.
There we go. Line up and wait. All right, so line up and wait. You basically finish up your before takeoff checklist. You are cleared onto the runway.
121.90.
Contact ground on 1.
Whoa, overshot. Not used to this plane yet. Clearly. line up,
1, Charlie.
and wait.
Fly heading 270, runway 27. You're cleared for takeoff.
Alright, so we were given a heading to fly on departure, so we will dial that
SJX
in.
Vision 1,
Yeah,
Charlie,
shut up.
Victor. Fly heading 270, runway 27. You're cleared for takeoff.
Fly heading 2.
Alright, clear for takeoff. I don't really know this plane all that well, so we're just gonna go for it. It seems very, this is what I would call, I think the Moonies used to have this nickname, but dentist killers or doctor killers. They basically make it look like a car, it goes really fast. And people with very little flying experience will get it because it's a status symbol, and then they end up killing themselves because they don't know how to fly. Especially in weather. Oops, gear. It's probably a good idea.
SJX Vision 1, Charlie, Victor. Contact center on 135.95.
Contact center on.
Alright.
135.95.
So we're supposed to be climbing up to 10,000 feet. I don't know what V2 is, or V2 plus 10, or what our climb speed is, so we're just going to wing it.
Center SJX Vision 1, Charlie, Victor.
90 seems fine.
SJX Vision 1, Charlie, Victor. East Midlands, altimeter 2997.
297.
Altimeter 2997. SJX Vision 1, Charlie, Victor.
So that would be your takeoff. Of course they don't. I would have checked out Donington there if they would have had it, but they don't. Oh well. Altitude, I forgot to dial that in. There we go. So it's funny, when you fly IFR a lot and you get used to it, it's actually kind of daunting to go back to VFR flying when you're kind of on your own. Because, I mean, IFR does have its challenges for sure, and it seems more complicated, but at the same time, in essence, you're just kind of being told what to do. And it's, again, not without its challenges, but yeah, VFR, you're kind of like, man, I hope I don't fly through the wrong airspace because it's on me. Alright, well, we are going the wrong direction here. So I didn't really, this is a very unrealistic flight plan. We're not, normally there's going to be points where you're going to be crossing, whoa. There's going to be points where you're crossing between countries that are very specific. Try to bring up Sky Vector here to show you that. I think there's an autopilot on this plane. Yeah, there is. Heading, autopilot, level change. Oh, nope, what are we doing?
SJX Vision 1, Charlie, Victor. Fly heading 360.
Oops, wrong way.
SJX Vision 1, Charlie, Victor. Fly heading 090.
090 now.
Fly heading 090. SJX Vision 1, Charlie, Victor.
Typically, they expect you to turn in the
05 Sentinel 186. Fly heading 120. Vectors for the visual.
Shortest direction. Now, obviously, that was directly 180 degrees off of us, so it's dealer's choice. But if you ever have a question, you just query the controller, which we can't do in this game. So what are you gonna do? Unfortunately. All right. Well, looks like
SJX Vision 1, Charlie, Victor. Fly heading 150.
150. He's trying to get us on course here. Alright, well that's doing that. Let's bring up Sky Vector. Oh, never mind. Yeah, maybe you can see it over here, but I thought I was looking at a different. You can see Rubet right there. You can see the firs. Now firs aren't exactly country borders. That's a little bit of a misnomer. Just because I'm flying in a specific country's fir does not mean I'm over their country necessarily. But typically you'll see these GPS waypoints along it, and that's where you'll be routed through, so they can kind of control, okay, you know, I'm anticipating funneling through this point at this time, I'll be leaving your airspace at this point at this time. And I just said, I just basically plotted us over Dover so we could maybe see the cliffs if they're rendered in X-plane, I'm not sure, and then kind of straight across. So, highly unrealistic flight plan, but at the same time, it's a sim, so we can do whatever the heck we want.
Center SJX Vision 8 Zulu November.
SJX Vision 8 Zulu November East Midlands.
Alright, autopilot's capturing 10,000, that's good.
East Midlands.
Oh, and I already forgot, we passed 6,000 and I did not
8 Zulu November.
set 2992. So I'm already messing up. Yeah, I mean, you look at this plane. Oop, and flaps. That'll help. It basically looks like a car. You even got the nice temperature vents. This is your engine start. You just turn that little knob right there. It's crazy. Crazy, crazy. Touch screen to control your comms.
SJX Vision 8 Zulu November. Fly heading 180.
Fly heading 180. SJX Vision 8 Zulu November.
SJX Vision 8 Zulu
There's not much
November.
else to it.
Fly heading 15.
That's your throttle.
Fly heading 1.
It's gotta feel weird to fly with that little throttle though. It doesn't look like there's a lot of play there to fine tune your
Zulu November. Resume on navigation.
Resume on
your inputs, but what do I know?
8 Zulu November.
Whoa, what's going on? Getting some Mach tuck or something? I think we might be going too fast. Anyway, it's a pretty spiffy little plane, but I know I can't really say anything, but I am very much looking forward to August 18th when Microsoft releases. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for something new. I'm ready to have halfway realistic landscape and scenery, so we can do some actual VFR pilotage, point-to-point flying, using actual sectionals. But in the meantime, this will work. Cute little plane, goes pretty fast. Single pilot. Aw, man, I'm looking good. That is an epic pilot stash right there. We got the aviators, the David Clark's on. And a Homer, is that a Homer Simpson shirt? That's awesome. And a leather jacket. I mean, that's pretty funny. Oops. I miss something?
150 SJX Vision 1 Charlie Victor.
Sir, yeah, here we go. See, that looks pretty comfy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of your best friends. I wonder what the useful load is, though. I can't imagine you'd get fit 5 adults in there and be okay on weight and balance. So this is England. Let's see if we can't speed this up a little bit. Yep. Let's go direct. I'll cancel if they give me grief. Go direct. Hit the navigation. And this is always a little thing that drives me crazy. I always just sync up the heading bug. That way you got a nice, if something happens, you got a nice wind corrected heading for the course you're supposed to be on. I don't think I'm breaking any new ground on that, but alright, let's see about ground speed 6. This is where we usually lose it. So I want to see if we can't. So I don't know.
November. Descend and maintain 7,000.
Descend and maintain 7,000 SJX Vision 8.
Oops, this isn't the one I wanted.
SJX Vision 8 Zulu November. Fly heading 120. Vectors for the visual. Runway 21. Descend and maintain 5,000.
Fly heading 120. Vectors for the visual. Runway.
Yeah, I really don't know how this works.
SJX Vision 8 Zulu November.
S76 6 X-ray Papa.
Whatever.
Altimeter 2994.
Altimeter 2.
There's really no good way to slew in this game either. Like I can't just
X-ray Papa.
in Flight Simulator X and before you could just slew yourself around the world wherever you wanted to go. You can click and drag, but only within the context of this radius right there, basically.
Altimeter 2994. L5 signal 186.
SJX Vision 1 Charlie Victor London moving altimeter 2996.
London altimeter 2.
I guess we are on.
SJX Vision 1 Charlie Victor.
SJX Vision 8 Zulu November Cranfield altimeter 2994.
Cranfield altimeter 2994. SJX.
Alright, we've got boys in here now. Saving the world. That's what you hear in the background. Alright, so we'll be coming up on Dover and then hanging a Louis over to this GPS point right here is my best approximation of where Nurburgring is. So I guess we will ultimately see. But then this Koblenz Winningen Airport is where we're gonna go, and from what I remember, it's right along a river valley, but it's up on the bank of the river valley, which is pretty cool. It's fairly common German countryside. Okay, let's hold off on that for a second. Come back to 1x. And go external. Okay, never mind. I'm looking at the map now. We still got a little ways to go.
S76, 6, X-ray, Papa, fly heading 310.
Fly heading 31.
So there's no, I couldn't find any instrument approaches into our destination, so we're just going to be doing a visual. And there was also no TAF, so this is also not very realistic. We do not have a weather forecast for the area that we would be going to do a visual approach. Not smart.
Climb and maintain 6,000.
Climb and maintain 6,000. L5 Sentinel 186.
Alright, now we're coming up on Dover.
Vision 9, Golf, Alpha, fly heading 130. Descend and maintain 7,000.
Fly heading 130. Descend and maintain 7,000. SJX Vision 9 Golf Alpha.
S76, 6, X-ray, Papa, Manston, altimeter.
Clouds and X-Plane aren't too bad,
Manston altimeter.
but based on the videos we've been seeing of the new Microsoft Flight Simulator 1, it's just next level.
L5 Sentinel 186, lit, altimeter 3000.
Alright.
Lid altimeter 3000. L5 Sentinel 1.
Well, of course there's cloud cover.
SJX Vision 7, Sierra, Yankee, lit.
Oh, there you go.
300.
There's the cliffs of Dover.
Lid altimeter 3000. SJX Vision 7 Sierra Yankee.
Exciting. Yeah, see, it just doesn't do it for me. Alright, well, since we had it synced up,
SJX Vision 7, Sierra, Yankee.
the autopilot to our route of flight, looks like we overshot a little bit there, probably because of the
SJX Vision 7
ground speed
Sierra
times 6. Turn radius increased a bit, so we overshot. We'll be coming back to course. And
7, Sierra,
I
Yankee.
know there's a way to
30.
Fly heading
get a ETE, I'm sure, but I just do not. I'm not familiar with the FMS they have here.
1, Charlie, Victor, fly heading 060.
060.
SJX Vision 1, Charlie, Victor, resume on navigation.
There we go.
Resume on navigation. SJX Vision 1 Charlie Victor.
All right. Well, nothing super exciting about the English channel. This is gonna bring us adjacent to Calais, I believe. So that's pretty cool. But I'll just go ahead and speed it up, and we'll actually try to get a landing in this time, which is very I don't. Hmm? You're rider.
SJX Vision 1, Charlie, Victor, Kelly Dunker, altimeter 3.
Oh, okay. Oh, we're playing Paw Patrol apparently. Yeah, I must have missed some transition. Altitude must be different. They keep telling us to update our altimeters here.
Altimeter 3000. SJX Vision 1 Charlie Victor.
Alright. Ground speed.
L5 Sentinel 186, Manston, altimeter 3000. L5 Sentinel 186.
A little further up
30.
the coast to the left there is the Netherlands and The Hague.
186.
SJX Vision 5, Oscar, Quebec, fly heading 190.
Whoa.
SJX Vision 5 Oscar Quebec.
SJX Vision 5, Oscar, Quebec, fly heading 190.
Fly heading 190. SJX Vision 5 Oscar Quebec.
Man.
Papa, fly heading 280.
Also, I like how the ATC is all still the same voice, because that was honestly one of the harder parts. So English is the official language for flying, for aviation, ICAO, US, all that. If you contact the controller in their native language, they can speak it back to you, but outside of that, English is the expectation. And of course, it made it a little difficult from time to time with accents and what have you. And I always felt very fortunate because I'm terrible with language. Just so bad. I think I took in grand total 6 years of Spanish between high school and college, and still can't speak a lick.
SJX Vision 0 Tango Oscar Kelowna altimeter 3000.
Kelowna altimeter 3000. SJX Vision 0 Tango Oscar.
But you learn to say at least hello and goodbye when you checking in with controllers, and in the different languages. Just I always thought that was pretty cool.
0 Tango Oscar fly heading 050.
Fly heading 050. SJX Vision 0 Tango Oscar.
My God, these boys are gonna.
Fly heading 270.
Fly heading 2.
All right, we're getting closer, getting closer. Now this would be concerning to me if we were flying VFR.
SJX Vision 0 Tango
I'd be starting to think about obviously maybe doing a descent, as depending on how far out you are.
Vision 0 Tango Oscar.
Avoid having to
SJX Vision 0 Tango Oscar
find a hole to get down through.
0 descend and maintain 1000.
Fly heading 050. Descend and maintain 1000. SJX Vision 0 Tango Oscar.
S76 6 X-ray.
Oh, why it's hanging just
Fly heading 280.
left of course.
6 X-ray Papa.
SJX Vision 7 Echo India fly heading 270 vectors for the visual runway 1 descend and maintain 4000.
Fly heading 270. Vectors for the visual runway 1 descend and maintain 4000. SJX Vision 7 Echo India.
S76 6 X-ray Papa Nurburgring altimeter 290.
Oh my gosh, we might actually get to the destination before we crash here.
2997 S76 6 X-ray Papa.
Or before my children drive me crazy.
Nurburgring altimeter 2997.
Nurburgring altimeter 2997 L5 186.
SJX Vision 7
Getting closer.
India Brussels Airport altimeter 2997.
Brussels Airport altimeter
Oh, I guess we aren't. That's just on the
JX Vision 7 Echo India.
just on
Vision 1
the map.
Leave altimeter 2997.
Liege
Liege.
altimeter 2997. SJX Vision 1 Charlie Victor.
Okay. It's looking good.
SJX Vision 9 Kilo Victor fly heading 020.
Fly heading 020. SJX Vision 9 Kilo Victor.
L5 Sentinel 186 St. Hubert.
So the next point will be Nurburgring.
97.
We are 50 miles away from that once we get...
5 186.
Oh, actually, you know what? I want to descend too.
S76 6 X-ray Papa Monster Tonkin altimeter 2994.
I'll slow down for that.
Monster Tonkin altimeter 2994. S76 6 X-ray Papa.
Alright, well,
JX Vision
we're going to make an assumption that the weather is clear from here to the destination, or that we can maintain our VFR cloud clearances, so I'll go ahead and cancel IFR.
SJX Vision 9 Kilo Victor fly heading
And switch off of that frequency, because that's annoying. Alright. Let us figure out how to descend on this autopilot. Guessing it's something... What do you think, 5,000? Yeah, that's probably fine. Do east is odd, so 55. Oop. Oh no! Starting over. Oh my. I really cranked that in. Let's go up a little bit. A little excessive on the VSI there. Get rid of that. Oh, man. Actually, yeah, typically to give yourself a nice, whoa, okay. This is where the ground speed thing is not great. There we go. Okay. Now we seem to have settled down. Crank it back up. Oops. You can see right here. That's how much, it's the distance we got remaining to the next waypoint. Our random lat long. Which I believe to be Nurburgring. Whoa. Anyway, decent planning when you're flying up high. Just as a wag. Typically you think, uh-oh. 3 times your altitude to lose. A good 3-degree glide slope is kind of the standard, so, uh-oh. Did I run out of fuel? Hold on. Yep. Let's bump that up a little bit. Oh boy. Reset the engine. You can tell I did not do any flight planning for this. Well, at least I got the plane stabilized. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, there are no airport charts. Okay. Elevation, 640 feet. Cool. So we'll come in at 1,600 feet. Now, we would typically use 1,500 feet AGL above the ground level for our traffic patterns, but I know smaller planes typically use 1,000, but it could also be dictated to you by the airport itself. All right, let us try. This one more time. Easy. Easy. Alright, 1 mile left. Let's see, did that work? Do we have a Nurburgring? Maybe that's supposed to be it. Just a bunch of random roads. It's probably supposed to be it. Got my contrails or my chemtrails on. Haven't found the switch to turn those off yet. Yeah, it's got to be it. All right, well, let's get slowed down here. I think. Yeah, we're 20 miles away from the airport. Started thinking about talking to approach. We're not going to bother with the radios as I've demonstrated many times. I'm just not a fan of using the ATC in X-Plane. I'm hoping Microsoft can improve upon that. Anyway. Start the, yeah, at this point we'd already run our descent checks. Before landing checklists, typically there's a stopping point on a before landing checklist or an approach checklist. It kind of depends on the aircraft, what you're running. I did not find anything for this particular plane, so we're just gonna say gear and flaps and hope for the best. But also I don't know what the altimeter setting is, which probably isn't great. So our altimeter, our indicated altitude might be a little off, but so if I want to go down to, we'll call it just 1500, we'll round it down, 4,000 feet to lose. So by my rule, we'd be descending at 12 miles out, which actually I want to add, that would be getting down to 1500 feet over the airport, and I don't want to do that. I want to bring it down a little bit quicker than that. Because you got to land there. I don't want to be at 1,500 feet over the airport. I want to be at 1,500 feet, probably 3, 5, some odd miles out. So we'll add a couple clicks. Nose down. Oops. I guess I got to change the altitude first, huh? Looks like. So we may actually be a little bit behind the power curve, but that's all right. Because 3 degrees is actually pretty comfortable for descent. And our true airspeed right now is 220, so we are going roughly a little less than 4 nautical miles a minute. So we would expect to see, you multiply that by 3, at 1200 on the VVI. And if I'm not seeing that, I will increase my rate of descent, because that means I'm not descending fast enough. And if that sort of fast back of the napkin math interests you, I can cover down on that on the next flight. So let's see, we're coming up on 3,000 feet, so I want to be at 12 miles plus we'll add 3. So I'm kind of behind the power curve once again, so I'm going to increase my rate of descent once more. There's ways to use that same math to figure out your exact descent rate. Now I also don't know what my flap extend speed is here. 190? 190. So I would technically have to get slowed. It looks like that's the only drag device available to me is flaps. We're about 10 knots hotter than that right now, so technically would not be able to do that without breaking something. And actually, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and kick the autopilot off. And I'll just take it from here. I think I see the airport out there in sight. So I'm going to make a bid out to the left. We've met our speed restriction. I'm going to set up here for a left base, I believe. Now, this is, I would normally spin in the course of the airport landing direction, but I do not know what that is, unfortunately. Yep, that's the gear warning. I've had my throttle, my airspeed slow, my throttle's back, and I don't have the gear down, so that's where you'll typically see those. I still want to bring it down. And you can kind of see it over there. There's our airport. I feel a little bit high, which makes sense. I'm about 1,000 feet above what I said I wanted my pattern altitude to be, and we are 3 miles out. I guess isn't too bad. So I've got 50% flaps. And gears down. So regardless, we're safe to land. I do not have my winds, so I don't know what sort of... Whoa. Whoa, look at that. Yeah, super immersion right there. Oh. Yeah, normally I'd be doing a wind check so I knew... What the hell? What is happening? Stop. Why? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Okay. And I also take my flight director off. I don't know how to do that because look at that, flight director's giving me bad information. It's distracting. But now I'm going 2 nautical miles per minute, so times 3, I would expect 600 feet per minute would be I'll go 100% flaps because we're coming in super hot. And high. From here, I'm just trimming out the pressures. I've got my aim point. You can see where all the tire marks are. You want to freeze that in your windscreen. That looks like left to right winds, very light though. Oof, I don't know what our approach speed is, but that seems fast. And I don't think we have thrust reverse on this one. A little left to center line. That was I would probably normally would have gone around on that approach. We were hot, we were high, and that's how you end up messing things up. But yeah, anyway, I'd be curious to do this again on Microsoft when it comes out and see the landscape. It looks like a pretty neat airport if modeled correctly. So we'll probably do that. But anyway, that was just a quick little tour. We're here in Germany, and I don't know where we're going next, but I'm sure it'll be fun. So we'll see you guys on Sunday night for the race. Looking forward to it.